9 News at 4 starts right now.
It's a weather impact day across Colorado. A winter storm warning is in effect until tomorrow. We have live team coverage looking around the metro area. Our team will also have an update on how many more hours are left in this storm.
This storm has been unusual in the amount of snowfall and the lack of wind.
The Eastern Plains could end up with historic totals. We're hearing from a woman who works at the local newspaper uncovering this storm. And trees are going to take a hit with this wet, heavy snow. An arborist is telling us his crews are switching to emergency mode this weekend. Your votes are in, but the snow is delaying our 9 News Game of the Week. We'll have an update on when you can see your team play.
Four o'clock on your Friday, and it's day 4 of snow hammering Colorado. Thank you for being here at 4 o'clock. I'm Alexandra Lewis.
I'm Lauren Scafidi. Tom and Kim are off having a snow day themselves this afternoon. We have team coverage of the storm for you. Let's start with a live look at the radar. You can see that storm just parked over the state. Heavy snow is expected all night into the morning. This is officially the biggest November storm in Denver since 1994.
Democratic Governor Polis is calling on the National Guard to help with the incoming storm. He did declare a disaster emergency yesterday. Making the call means resources like the State National Guard and other rescue efforts are ready and in place to help around the state.
Right now, snow is impacting the highways. I-70 is once again closed out east heading into Kansas. I-25 is also closed heading south of Pueblo into New Mexico. And also new this afternoon, any type of trailer vehicle is restricted from taking I-70 west of Golden. Roads are going to be dicey, so really it's just best if you can stay home and ride out the storm. A lot warmer inside too.
As you can imagine, the storm is having a major impact on air travel. This is a look at the misery map from FlightAware. More than 600 flights have been delayed at DIA. Cancellations are now upwards of 500.
Our team coverage starts this hour with 9 News reporter Jeremy Hohola. Jeremy, you've been hanging out at the airport all day. A lot of people who had plans to get out of there aren't going anywhere fast, if they're going anywhere at all.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you know DIA, it's always busy here, but on a day like today, when you have a massive snowstorm over the airport, for a lot of people, it's that hurry up and wait. Let's go ahead and take a look behind me here. If you take a look at security behind me, it's actually not that bad. The TSA lines here, actually not that bad. That's possibly in part because, as you said, you have more than 1,000 flights that have either been delayed or canceled. But here's what you need to know if you're traveling this weekend. Right now, the airport is on full de-icing mode. That means it's very likely every outbound flight will have to go through the de-icing process. Expect that to add about 15 minutes extra to your flight time. That's once you get on the plane. Now, as for the snow, the airport says it has a staff of about 500 people who can pivot and start intense snow removal. The airport says it can clear a runway in as little as 17 minutes. Right now, all 6 runways are operational at DIA, but that could change. And even with a lot of preparation, the snow is still going to impact travel like it is today, especially if you have friends or family coming into Denver over the next 48 hours. Expect those delays.
Please just make sure before you head out the house that you're checking in with your airline to see if there's any delays or cancellations. Also check road conditions to accommodate additional time. We always recommend at least 2 hours arriving to the airport. But yeah, just staying in close communication with the airline, checking the status is what we're always going to recommend.
And of course, we have to give a shout out to all the ticketing agents out there. There's so many people that get upset when they're experiencing delays and cancellations. It can be very frustrating. But of course, when you're up there at that ticket counter, be nice. Be nice to those folks. There's a lot of people traveling this weekend. Live at DIA, Jeremy Hohola, 9 News.
I love that advice because as frustrated as you are, the folks at TSA are dealing with hundreds, if not thousands, of other frustrated people. So just be kind.
A little smile goes a long way for them.
Jeremy, thank you so much. Temperatures right now are just about freezing, and that is making for some really heavy and that slushy, like heavy snow.
Yeah, that snow is not good for all the trees around the metro area. 9 News reporter Evan Krugel continues our team coverage now. He joins us live in Golden after talking to the experts on trees. And Evan, it seems small, but it can make such a big difference.
Yeah, Lauren, they are expecting some widespread damage tonight, but they say there are some things you can do. We'll get to that in just a minute. Here's the problem. This wet, heavy snow is really starting to pick up tonight. And in addition to things like pine trees where the snow can really weigh them down, a lot of trees still haven't lost the majority of their leaves yet. So that certainly could be a problem tonight. But as you mentioned, there are some small steps you can take to help out tonight. On a day when many chose to work from home, some bundled up and ventured out for one last round of tree pruning as the flakes began to fly.
Yeah, it's always crazy. We love the crazy weather, and so it keeps us busy and keeps us on our toes.
David Boswell says his crews will shift to emergency mode tomorrow, with spring-like snow arriving before leaves have said goodbye to fall.
We're going to have wet, heavy snow, and we're all going to feel it when we're shoveling our driveways, but the trees are really going to feel it as it gathers and collects in the canopy of the tree. Those trees are holding their leaves, and if you haven't had your trees pruned this year, you're definitely going to get a lot of snow in that canopy. And the trees that still have leaves, we do expect to see a lot of failure and damage.
David says there are some things you can do tonight.
As far as tonight goes, if you have a smaller tree or even a spruce tree like that that's now starting to gather snow, you can go up and hit these branches and get some of that snow to fall off. It'll actually help mitigate some of the load that's on the branches.
You can also use a broom or a pole to knock snow off branches, but only if you can do so safely.
But if you can get out, especially with the smaller trees and young trees, and you can get that snow off before you go to bed, that'll help reduce buildup and stuff over the course of the nighttime.
Now, David says it really doesn't matter what you use, as long as it's a long pole that you can reach up high into a tree with. He says a broom, a shovel, anything like that. Or Steve Stager likes to use a hockey stick. I've got a light pole that I always keep in my car, so the idea, just get up as high as you can and safely knock down that snow. He says you can get up pretty high on some of those younger trees and shorter trees, clear that snow off. He says that can do wonders if you're able to get it off tonight and stop the amount that's piling up tomorrow before those branches potentially begin to break. Alex, Lauren, we'll send things back to you in that nice warm studio.
All right, well, I'll take it over from here, and we will be seeing a weather impact day through the rest of the day today and into the first half of our Saturday, and that's for a couple of different reasons. The first reason, of course, all of the snow out there. We're going to continue to see that snow pile up through this evening, through overnight, and into Saturday morning, and that's also when our winter weather alerts expire, noon Saturday. In addition to that, once the sun sets, those temperatures will drop into the 20s. We're looking for slick, hazardous travel out on the roadways. You want to watch for some refreeze, maybe some ice, especially on those sidewalks and on those side streets as you're heading out. And then lastly, of course, what we were just talking about, those broken limbs and power outages are a real possibility with this heavy, wet snow that's going to continue to fall over the next 24 hours or so. So because of all of this, we do still have winter weather alerts in place through noon tomorrow. Denver, as well as most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains, colored in red here. These are winter storm warnings. We're going to watch for several inches to up to a foot of additional snow on top of what has already fallen. So coming up in my full 7-day forecast, I'll talk more about this snow, when it'll end, everything in your week ahead coming up.
Thank you so much, Lauren. As the storm moves out of the way, we'll have continued coverage on air and on 9news.com. For our latest coverage, just text the word snow to 303-871-1491. We'll text you back with the link to the forecast, closings, and more.
Let's get you some other headlines here. Today, we are hearing from the superintendent of Denver Public Schools about his plan to close 7 schools and then consolidate 3 others. Dr. Alex Marrero unveiled the plan during Thursday's school board meeting. He says declining enrollments have made cuts necessary. Some buildings slated for closure had students filling just 30% of those school buildings. The Denver School of Innovation and Sustainable Design only had 60 students, using just 16% of their building. Marrero says he wanted to make cuts that would help the district for years to come.
In terms of more, you can always argue that we could have, but I would say is that this addresses the issue at the moment, right? No, in terms of 4,000 vacant seats, that's a substantial amount of seats that were taken offline.
Marrero estimates this plan could help DPS stave off cuts for another 3 to 5 years. The board will vote on the closure plans on November 21st.